So, guys, I need to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
How badly do you guys want a My Hero Academia spin-off manga?
I think there's a lot of potential in that universe for a spin-off. I am definitely open to reading one if it's done correctly.
What about you, Josh?
I don't want it at all. I want...
Well, too bad, you're getting one!
Yeah, I know.
That's too bad, because we talked about Shonen Jump Giga, I think, about an episode or two ago. And about it's basically another what was it? Josh, do you remember on an episode of Life Lessons we talked about
Akamaru Jump, or is it
Akamaru Jump?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is actually, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this was Akamaru Jump, and this is like another like transformation of the brand is basically what this is. Don't you just love it when that happens, Josh?
Well, the thing is, you have to remember, and this was reported just a little while ago, that overall print sales across all of the major 3 manga anthology prints has been down by 10% or more.
That is true.
Things like V-Jump have been created to combat this, and rebranding is... I mean, you can't do that for the big 3, obviously, because their branding is their selling power. But, that's what happens when you have these subsidiary titles. But, I mean, Akamaru Jump is a very prolific magazine. It's where a lot of those one-shots that turn into really big, important series debut oftentimes, or they move more monthly series into that sort of thing. So, I mean, Giga, I suppose, I don't think this one will last. The branding seems kind of off. Not that I'm like, oh, I read this every week. But it seems a little bit weaker than looking at like Akamaru Jump or anything, or Squared or whatever the case may be. It just seems to not hold up. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I can kind of agree with some of that. Yeah, so basically we talked about it before, how basically they've gotten a lot of different Jump authors currently or have worked with the magazine before to kind of do their own series in Jump Giga. And it looks like we're going to be getting some spin-offs and side stories for a certain series, which we won't go over all of them. But apparently there's going to be a My Hero Academia spin-off called Vigilante Boku no Hero Academia Illegals.
Why didn't you just say My Hero Academia Illegals?
Because Trump placed them on the other side of the wall. We're going to make manga great again.
Trump is a weeaboo?
No, Bernie is the only true weeaboo. Thank you.
So the only thing we know about this My Hero Academia spinoff is that the story will feature illegal heroes, which I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
Well, I just told you what that means.
Guys, holy shit. Do you think this My Hero Academia spinoff will take place during the presidency of Trump?
Are you asking if Trump will win the presidency?
I didn't say that. No, I'm just saying in an alternate universe where Trump wins, he sends all the heroes over the wall because they do nothing but destroy the town and all that stuff in their heroism.
Americans don't feel safe.
No, I mean it's kind of like the Incredibles, only to like the nth power.
It'd be amusing if they had like a Trump XP is kind of like a villain in this series. Like, this is a dystopian future where Trump has ruined the world. And because of all, like, the crime and chaos that he's caused, vigilantes have popped up to kind of, like, right the wrongs and bring order back into, like, the chaotic, like, gang rundown neighborhoods of the United States.
Maybe.
I would pay for a spin-off where Bakugo blows Trump's face off.
That would be cool.
Would be great.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't know. I kind of hope this is another thing that maybe like Jump either puts in their magazine or maybe they pick this up to put out for free on Viz.com. I'd like to give it a shot. Sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, I can see this as something that they put up on, as like one of the free content on the Shonen Jump side. I don't know if it'd be like something they'd add to the magazine.
Yeah, actually, now that I say that, probably not, because I mean they do have their fair share of spin-offs from other popular series on Viz.com as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them probably adding this at some point.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, first off, that's been a very popular trend that they've been doing for a very long time. Look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't been run by the original creator for a very long time.
But he's still making a lot of money.
He's still making shit tons of money. He could be Akira Toriyama for all we care. But I wonder he probably hasn't made more money than Akira Toriyama. But anyway, the flip side is also you look at Naruto, and now we have Boruto, which is, maybe has some oversight in that regard, but it's not run by the original creator. Just My Hero Academia, they're starting that even sooner. They're trying to get almost like a franchise. And really, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to work. It doesn't really work for Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of like the people who watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's kind of it. It's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans who are participating. It's not really drawing a new crowd.
It's also about the card game, too.
Yeah. No, totally.
And the big sales come from, that card game, and it's the manga anime exists to promote that card game, and it's just this big franchise where there's all this merchandise, and all that merchandise sells, and, the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it's catering to young audiences, and it's marketed toward those young audiences, and those young audiences eat basically all this up. And so regardless of the quality of these spin-offs of Yu-Gi-Oh, there's still young audiences who get into each new Yu-Gi-Oh series. They buy all the new Yu-Gi-Oh merchandise, and that's how this franchise has kept surviving for 20 years now, is that there's still a market for Yu-Gi-Oh merchandise. There's still interest in card games and toys, and kids who will watch the anime, who will read these manga spin-offs.
Well, let's look at Naruto, right? Okay, so Naruto ended, then they did Boruto. Okay?
Right.
Now, I want you to imagine, this is how I feel when it comes to talking about this new Vigilante spin-off. Imagine if Naruto hadn't ended, and Boruto ended up starting. Now, obviously that couldn't happen because Boruto is completely hinged on the ending of Naruto, but just imagine for a moment that it did. I mean, how would that make you feel? You're in the middle of reading the main work, and all of a sudden they come out with the sidekick story, which, I mean, by all means doesn't necessarily rob the original of any intent, but it suddenly feels less sincere. It feels way more cash cow driven versus actually being about the best manga have almost always been about trying to push some sort of boundary, even when that boundary was just making more sales. I mean, Fist of the North Star, or even Dragon Ball in some case, in a lot of cases. But I mean, the best manga have always been cutting edge in some form, even if it is for chasing pennies. This isn't really cutting edge. It's just chasing pennies. I'm not really sold on My Hero Academia being a very big series at all, because I feel like it's inflated, that literally Shueshia is just trying to present the next big thing, but it doesn't seem to be catching on the same way. And I think this is they're promoting this faster to see if, maybe we get 2 series, they can have some synergy off each other. I don't think it's going to work.
I agree that it's too early to really push My Hero Academia as this big franchise. It might be worrying as they start, trying to make a My Hero Academia expanded universe, or My Hero Academia manga universe, or whatever, some equivalent to, what the big trend to make, these cinematic universes in Hollywood films now, and they try to make multiple spin-offs set in the My Hero Academia universe. I do think that there is a risk of treading upon the sincerity of the original work there. And in the cases of the Yu-Gi-Oh spin-offs and Boruto, those happened after the original work had already concluded. Those kept the train going. They didn't already start running while the original series were going. They happened afterwards, just to keep the franchise, alive. This is, the difference here with Vigilante is that, it's starting up while, My Hero Academia is still, running, and also it's still very young. It's nowhere close to nearing its conclusion. I mean, it's just starting up. It's, only 2 years old. So I do think that there is, so I do see some concern in a Jump maybe trying to push My Hero Academia as this really big thing, too hard. But at the same time, I think that a difference with Vigilante is that it is just a story set in the same universe instead of interfering with the story of My Hero Academia. It's not it seems to be focusing on a different kind of original set of characters instead of taking the existing characters and trying to do different stories with them. And in that way, I at least think it's preferable than something like Soul Eater Not.
Or Attack on Titan Junior High.
Oh,
well,
Christ.
that's a different kind of thing in that it's like a chibi manga comedy gag spinoff, and those are a dime a dozen. I mean, this is a little more kind of it's trying to be a more sterilized.
You can't toss
story.
something like the Shinji Ikari Rising Project or whatever. You can't, like, it's not even, but this, it just feels insincere. It feels very, we are trying to grab it just feels just grab money. I'm not excited for it. I have my own problems with Hero Academia as is. So, I mean, like, for me, I'm the negative Nancy here, and I'm like, well, they have still yet to sell me on this series that has only been out for 2 years, which is relatively, I mean, like, how long has Assassination Classroom been out?
Assassination Classroom lasted, like, 3.5 years.
So, quite literally, this thing is almost as old as Assassination Classroom. And to be 100% honest with you, if it ended in a year and a half, I can still see that. Now, I don't wish that upon the series. I'm not saying, oh, this is horrible, I hate it, but I'm trying to be honest here, and I feel like it is a lot of posturing. And once that posturing is peeled back, who's really reading this? I feel like the best thing that sums this up is when we had we had Goku, and we had that image where, what was it? I'm trying to remember the whole thing. I can't recall the top of my head, but all those other mangaka ended up kind of giving you carry on the spirit of Jump, for Deku there. All the main Jump heroes, Naruto, and maybe Luffy was there, or Ichigo definitely wasn't there because, Shonen Jump hates Bleach, but like they're trying to sit like Goku, Luffy, and Naruto are like, oh yeah, carry on the torch or whatever. And like, that was cool at the moment, because like, oh cool, they're really putting their effort behind that. But now it's just not cool anymore. It doesn't feel like they're putting effort behind it. It feels like they've put too much money on the wrong horse, and that horse isn't running as fast as they thought it was going to. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my feeling, but I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody or say it's subpar. I'm just saying it's not nearly as good in a lot of ways that a lot of advertising tends to make it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your perspective, and there are like, it does make me raise an eyebrow when I saw this. It did make me raise an eyebrow when I saw that they were doing a spinoff for My Hero Academia. But I think that before anything, I'm going to like read it, and then I'm going to judge it after I've read it. 'Cause even if the intentions behind making the spinoff are misguided, the work itself could still be good. And
definitely,
ultimately, that's what all I care about is whether it's a good series or not.
I agree with what you said earlier, Sid, that I think the world of academia lends itself to, I think it lends itself well to a spinoff.
It's the same thing that Marvel Comics has been doing for, the longest time. DC it's the same setup. The exact same setup. So you have this world where you can literally create thousands of characters with powers and then just have them run wild. It's the West Coast, East Coast Avengers right now. Or at least that's the theory. It's not out. I haven't read it, and I think Sid has the best opinion of just, give it a chance before you cast the stone. But I'm going to cast the stone early and call it and say it's not going to be nearly as good as the original, because these things don't tend to be as good as the original. It seems to be a common trend. And then on top of that, it just seems misguided, as Sid put it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, read it, see how it goes. Love it if you love it. But you know what? It's not, I have no reason to look at this, because I have yet to get a reason to really look at Hero Academia. And I've like blindly purchased 4 volumes. I really wanted to believe in the series, but I ditched the anime because the anime was just, it was exact retread of everything. And it just feels so, it feels so lost, really, the series itself. But that's another topic. This isn't the Hero Academia podcast, but I'm just saying,
if it makes you feel any better, Josh, a lot of stuff in academia that's introduced very early on, like in volume 2 and 3, very, very recently has kind of come to a head. So, I don't know. I would say keep reading.
Yeah, did you get to the internship arc in My Hero Academia?
Well, so that's the thing, is like, I've bought 4 volumes, and I've maybe read the first 2 and started on the third, and I'm just like, I grew up with American comic books, and I see the tradition that this is trying to draw on. I'm not interested in that, so maybe it's just a personal jaded bias. Cool, whatever. But there's nothing overly interesting, and this is why I say something like Naruto is better, because at least with Naruto, whether you like the main character or not, that world is rich. Like, you could do an entire series of any of those characters, and you could do an entire series of the adventures of Kakashi's team. You could do one of Jiraiya's team, and that would be a great series that wouldn't necessarily have to be a spin-off manga, wouldn't have to, I mean, it could just be like a one-shot, and you could, theoretically, every once in a while, pop these out. But I'm saying Hero Academia hasn't done well enough to take the spot. That's why we have freaking Boruto, is because nothing is replacing Naruto right now. Bleach is floundering.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think they're really going to keep the Bleach franchise alive. I don't think Jump has that much interest in that, in continuing it with like spin-offs or anything.
Oh, they're not going to. No, they're going to drop it right in the water and tell Kubo, hey, get to work on something that was better than zombie powder. At the same time, though, you have Gintama's ending. You have a lot of things in Jump that are, isn't Assassination Classroom done?
Yeah, Assassination Classroom ended a couple months ago.
Okay, yeah. So that one's done. You have 2 new series that are ending. You have now these, it just, to me, I'm not saying,
Nisekoi's ending.
Yeah, Nisekoi's ending as well, so there's the third one too. But I mean, like, it just...
And Toriko.
Yeah, shit, you're right.
Yeah, Toriko, I think, is probably going to last another year at the very least.
No, they're in like the final battle stage. I mean, I feel that Toriko
they're getting
is
there.
On its way out. I mean,
yeah.
We're probably going to have something in space. But I think that there isn't that much higher they can go after they beat Neo and Acacia.
Yeah, not to derail. I really want to ask this question to both of you guys because I respect your opinion. What do you think the status of Jump is going to be? I mean, to me, this spinoff is a statement of that. Now, I'm not trying to sound like Hideaki Anno those years ago and be like, oh man, manga's in trouble. But I'm saying
Shonen Jump was a mistake.
That was Miyazaki.
That was Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, don't confuse your bearded Japanese men. Jesus, I thought you liked stuff.
Sorry, guys. What am I even doing on this podcast?
That's why I'm. No, I'm just kidding. But no, literally. I mean, to me, this is a statement that Jump is not in trouble, but is kind of lost. I think My Hero Academia is the perfect analogy of the state of Jump. They want to be big. They have vision of their former glory, but they seem lost. I mean, what do you guys think?
There's gonna be big, like, upheaval with the Jump, like, lineup, like, cause a big series are ending, like, really popular recent series that started earlier in this decade are ending. It's just, and My Hero Academia, it has, like, become, it's basically their biggest thing right now, and that's why they're pushing it so hard. That's why they're having these spin-offs, because they want something really solid, something that can really support them, and that's also, I think, why they have Boruto is to continue the Naruto train is that, they want to have reliable successes. They want to cause the last time Jump really crashed was when Dragon Ball and Slam Dunk ended in the early 90s. Yep. And they went from 6 million, like, readers to, like, 3.5 liters. They lost half of their readership. And so, like, with all these big series ending, I'm sure they're really concerned that they're going to, like, lose a substantial amount of readership, and that's why they really want to push, like, a huge next big thing, a huge Naruto level hit, something like that will that will support their readership, that will keep readers coming back, even with these long-running mainstay series, like, leaving. So that's why they're really pushing My Hero Academia so hard, even though it's so young, and it hasn't really quite reached the same, like, level of success Naruto and One Piece did at their prime. It's just still climbing the ranks. Like, it's doing well in Jump, but it's not really as massive a hit as Naruto and One Piece became not yet. And it's not, and that's why they're trying so hard to make it that, and why they're really searching for means to, like, keep readers interested in the Shonen Jump brand, like, keep them coming back to the Shonen Jump brand, even with all these older, like, long-running series and veteran series going away. Like, there is going to be a huge change in the status quo Jump, and like I don't think Jump's position as the most read manga magazine in Japan is going to be treaded because it's just too mainstream, and it has One Piece, like the best-selling manga ever.
Well, see, sorry, I hate to interrupt you, Sid, but yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, Josh, ask me that when One Piece ends, because I feel like that's when we're in trouble.
I don't think it's in trouble. I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm the, you know.
No, I know, but like, I don't think.
No,
yeah,
but
a lot of really popular things are ending, and it is a little.
We still have Food Wars. There's still Boruto. There's still One Piece. I mean, people will buy Shonen Jump if it just only printed One Piece. So
Yep.
I mean, that's not an issue. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the quality. I mean, like, have any of these jump starts actually lasted?
Black Clover.
That's great, Black Clover, because who the fuck... I can't say that, I'm sorry. Because who is actually... I'm sorry, I forget.
It's okay, it's fine.
Who's actually reading that and enjoying it? Like, I hear it's
I know
popular
a few
in Japan.
people, actually.
I kind of enjoy it.
But you have to say kinda in front of it. Like,
I mean,
it's still not Naruto.
It's an up and down.
Well, actually,
it's an up and down series.
Is.
No, but that's my point. It's like Naruto was the ass end of Shonen Jump for the longest time, and nothing can compare with it right now, except for like One Piece. But One Piece is the resurrection of Dragon Ball Plus, you know.
Guys,
so.
I am so sorry for bringing up the Academia spinoff. I didn't think we'd be so torn.
And One Piece is just something people expect to read in Shonen Jump now. Like, they pick up a copy of Shonen Jump. They expect two things. They expect One Piece to be in there. They expect Kochikame to be in there.
Yep.
So those are just things that people take for granted that comes with the Shonen Jump brand. Like, those are not going away, like, anytime is soon. Like, One Piece will eventually go away. I don't know about Kochikame, but there's no danger of that right now. I think what Jump is concerned about is just having a stable, like, foothold with their popular series and having, like, creating new big IPs, like, and raising the popularity of the IPs that they're seeing that are growing in popularity right now, like My Hero Academia. And the spin-off seems as a way designed to increase My Hero Academia's, like, just popularity just by, like, saturating the market with more My Hero Academia stuff. So that's what I see what that's what I feel like they're trying to do. And no, they're not in trouble necessarily, but I do think that they're concerned that there could be, like, a dangerous drop off if they're not careful, if they don't do anything like to, like, keep, like, their strong franchises going and to nurture the franchise that have the potential to be big, not just domestically in Japan, but internationally. And that's another reason why I think they're pushing My Hero Academia so hard, is because with superheroes so popular, like, worldwide, because of the, you know, MCU and, like, superhero and increasing, like, the popularity of superheroes worldwide. Like, My Hero Academia has the potential to be this big mainstream success worldwide, like in the same way Naruto was a decade earlier, and it's just not there yet at all. But they want it to be.
It could be too early. I mean,
it is too early, because when you think about it, Naruto didn't become that big until it started airing in the US 6 years after the manga started in Japan.
Well, yeah, but that was a totally different era, too. Like, I mean, geez Louise,
yeah.
We were still airing Cowboy Bebop, and it's just like, that was a totally different era. And then what was the competition for Naruto?
I mean, there's nothing else quite like, you know, what was airing on Toonami on other kids' networks. So there really wasn't anything that was quite like Naruto.
Right, and I think what we kind of reached is a status quo where we have, I don't want to call them lukewarm because that seems insulting, but we've reached more of a even temperament across all of these properties. Food Wars, or you know, whatever the case may be, is sitting right next to I'm doing a bad job of making an example. There are just so many different series that are coming out both on the anime side and even the manga side that are all level hits. And
yeah,
it's not, I mean, maybe we're taking an approach, maybe I'm approaching this from the wrong perspective, saying, well, because they can't get something this big, thus, you know, they must have some sort of trouble. Well, that's not necessarily true either, because isn't it better to have a bunch of consistent properties, which you can kind of hold on to for a while versus having 2 or 3 ones which are really, really big. I don't know. It really depends on how their structure is set up. So maybe this whole point is ludicrous and I'm missing the entirety of the point, but I feel like this, again, this little spin-off is just that. It's a little spin-off, but it is commenting on the whole mentality of Jump. And I think that this mentality of Jump is doomed for decline if they don't start getting some of those major hits, because ever since the 80s, the golden age of Jump, they've had this mentality of get big hits in there and that will sell the magazine. And they haven't quite stripped away that. They still have that mentality. And I think that's the problem, is that they have this mentality, but it's not matching the reality.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That may be the discord there. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jump is still thinking in terms of, like, in the way a lot of fans are still thinking, there needs to be a big spree. There needs to be, like, really big hits and then a bunch of, like, smaller hits. Instead of, and, like, with the way that we consume anime and manga now, I think it's more important for them just to get all their series up to a level where there's stable hits, to have a stable audience that is sticking with the series, that is not declining as the series goes on, and all of those series, like, support the weight of the brand.
Yeah, that might just be it. I mean, but at the end, I mean, just to kind of round off, I don't want, again, sound like I'm trying to say that Shonen Jump as a property is in trouble. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying I don't see this sort of mentality of, oh, we'll just throw a spin-off. We'll just start throwing stuff in the side magazine as being supportive to the main brand. I feel like those properties, and this is going to be overly harsh, and I understand it's overly harsh, have failed, because that's simply not true. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do, which I don't know why they don't do, because I don't know the exact legality of it. I mean, shit, they could bring JoJo back in if they wanted to, but I mean, there's other problems with that. But anyway, my point is, I feel like the answer to all this is we need Go Nagai to write for Shonen Jump again. But that's the answer for every problem. But anyway.
I mean, that would be interesting. Him make, like what kind of series would you like to see him make? Something on the lines of...
Just yes. I don't care. I mean, he could be like, oh, I'm just going to redraw 3 chapters of Cutie Honey now that I have, a brand new art style after being alive for 100 million years. Like, it could be a new mech. It could be a Devilman spinoff. I mean, actually, that would be great. I would love a Devilman spinoff where it takes place in the world of Devilman, and it takes place within that, couple of years or whatever. And it could be a lot like Casherin Sins, the anime was. That would be great. I would love a new mech. That would be great. I would love a Cutie Honey revival. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Cutie Honey revival would probably sell just fine. Turn Cutie Honey into a harem. What if there was a Cutie Honey? What if Cutie Honey was a reverse harem? I don't know if I want that
necessarily.
Was a reverse harem.
Oh, reverse harem. Okay, maybe I'd be into that, actually.
Dude, that would do well. And I don't know if Go Nagai could draw hot guys, though. But I mean, what if Go Nagai was the writer and you got someone like Takashi Obata doing, drawing all these hot guys and cutie honeys?
Oh my god.
That'd be like freaking Urasawa's Pluto. Holy hell, I think I just got a boner.
Wow. Yes. Oh my god.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Colton.
No, it's fine. It just sounds pretty good.
Wow.